a mistake. And so to be sure that I would sit next to Ed. And when I sit down, Ed, the first thing Ed said to me was, "Do you have a bicycle?" And I don't ride bicycles in New York, but I could say, "Oh yes, I have a bicycle." And then when my mother went by, she said, "Mother, do I have a bicycle?" And she said, "Yes." And I had this old clunker bicycle that I had when I was 16 years old. And the next morning, Ed and I went biking. He and his streamlined 12, what do you call it? 12-year Schwinn, and me and my 16-year-old clunker, big bicycle, big, huge tires. But so our dates after this were always on the bicycle. I don't think we ever went out to dinner. But anyway, we got married and rode our bicycles down Chagrin Valley. Those of you that live in Cleveland, you know that there's a big hill. And Ed and I would have a lot of fun going down the hill. And I remember Ed always as loving and kind, and I would get flare up and get temperamental, and Ed was always calm and reassuring. No matter what happened, when our baby died was the only time that Ed cried. I never saw him cry before. When he came in the hospital, that was the first baby we had that died. But other than that, Ed, I never saw him cry.
I think when Nana died.
When Nana died, did he cry?
I think, yeah, I saw him cry in your arms.
You did? Okay. I didn't see that. Mm-hmm. Nana's his mother. Yeah, he cried when his mother died. Mm-hmm. So, but otherwise, Ed, he was a support to me always. I would lose it and freak out, and Ed would be calm and quiet. it was without Ed, I wouldn't have accomplished anything. We needed each other, and Ed's films, which luckily that's how we met, because Ed made the film, and they asked me to write a script at the Montefiore home, and so that first film was called "Where Life Still Means Living," and it won a lot of awards. Was shown all over the world, and it showed in the method validation of communicating with people who have a dementia, and that reached Japan, the East, the West, all over. But it was Ed's filming. He had a way of doing close-ups, and it just was instinct, nothing you could put on paper. It was the artist in him that brought out the life of these old people, that went, that worldwide people know how to communicate with old people because of Ed's films.
Did he have any formal training in photography, or is it all self-taught?
Ed is self-taught. He was amazing. He got a 16 millimeter. No, I think it was a Brownie.
8 millimeter?
8 millimeter for his bar mitzvah, 13th birthday. And he never let it out of his hand. And I remember, I think it was Jordan that said, "Is that Grandpa's eye?" Because he always had, remember that? He always had his camera. You never saw Ed's eyes, you saw only the camera, which is why Ed, in the world, Ed took pictures in the World's Fair that you weren't allowed to take movies. They were very strict, but he took pictures anyway. So then he gets phone calls from the people saying, that had to do with the World's Fair, saying, thank you. Yours is the only document, the only living memory of the World's Fair, because no one was allowed to take movies, but Ed did anyway.
Was that the fair in New York?
Pardon?
It pays to break the rules sometimes.
That was the fair in New York.
I was embarrassed, I went like this when we went in places, but Ed just, quietly had his camera, didn't make a big deal about it. It was like on his other arm. He had this heavy 60 millimeter bicycle, and he went 100 miles on a big bicycle ride, Tazra, from Columbus to Cleveland. And he had his camera with him always.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was part of Ed. It was his artistry, and no one taught him what to do when. It was just his art, his art.
Naomi, where did Ed grow up? Where was he born? Where did he grow up?
He grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, on Ardley Road, and he still says hardly, Ardley. He remembers where he lived in his house. His father was a doctor, and I guess they wanted, all his family was doctors, except for Ed. And but Ed's films were a lot of medical teaching films, so they forgave him for not being a doctor. But yeah, he grew up in Cleveland Heights, and he made a film. His films were known, but it was all word of mouth. The first film he made, I forgot, but somebody saw the film from Columbus, Ohio, and they asked him to come to Columbus and film there. And then someone in Columbus had come from Canada, and they asked him to go and make a film in Canada. And there was someone from Holland who was in Canada and saw his film and asked him to come. So we went to Holland, and that's how. And then someone from Germany was in the showing, and he asked us to come to Germany, and Ed made films. And that's how Ed films went all over, just word of mouth. So fortunate for me, because I had a chance to travel that way with Ed. In Japan, the same thing. The East, the West, all over the world, Ed's films were shown, and I think still are.
Did he have, when he retired, did he have hobbies and other things he was interested in? Did he keep bicycling?
Bicycling, yeah. He did bicycle for many years. Yeah. Only in the last few years, he was physically not able to bicycle, but yeah, he bicycled most of his life.
And I understand you traveled quite a bit as well.
We traveled, yeah, we went together. A lot of it was in Holland, where Vicky, my daughter, Beth has something. What, Beth?
I just want to ask, will you talk about Ed's bike ride in England? Ellen was asking about that.
In England?
Yes. He had a bike ride that he filmed, yes, in England?
Well, he went around the world, but with his bicycle. Who did he go with? Do you remember, Beth? In England, he went with somebody else.
Was that with Mary and George?
No. It was just Mary and George. I don't think Ed was there. Mary had just graduated from high school. It was the summer before she started at Smith College, and she went with her big brother, but I don't think Ed was with them.
Well, I know.
I think they took pictures, and when they came back, Ed blew one of the pictures up into this enormous mural-sized picture of them on their bikes. They almost got stuck in Hitler's Europe. Wow. They got back just in time.
Wow.
I didn't know that.
Because he was still in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was 2 years younger than Mary. That was 1939. He probably graduated from high school from US in 1941. That would be my guess. I don't know. Do anybody know?
Well,
I've never seen his diploma.
That sounds right to me.
Yeah, he went in the army. He went to Yale, and then that was interrupted by going into the army. And then he came back to Yale, and he finished up. And he made his first films, I think, at Yale with a friend of his, Charlie Briggs. That was
Right, the pendulum was.
Yeah, that's right. The Pit and the Pendulum.
And the ironic thing about Yale, it sounds so highfalutin, but if I remember correctly, Dad wanted to go to UCLA after World War II to study filmmaking. It was the only place in the country you could, but because of the GI Bill, it was too competitive. There were too many locals accepted, so he had to go back to Yale.
Second choice, poor guy.
I love it.
Yeah.
Up the academy.
Yeah.
That's
Of
very.
course,
I have-
Yale has a very good art department. They're a very renowned art department at Yale. So he was in good company.
I have a photograph of Ed, George, Mary, and their parents, Nellie and Harold, from 1936. My son found it and scanned it. Would anybody like to see it? I could just put it up on the screen really quickly.
Absolutely.
Oh, except you have to enable, the host needs to enable screen sharing for participants.
Would it be possible to put an attachment of it in the chat too, Catherine?
Sadly, you can't attach pictures and chat on Zoom.
You know
can't-
what? I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you.
No,
I can, okay,
you
let
can
me
share
see here.
Catherine.
Here we go. Okay. Well, that's a photograph of, this is right after actually Nana's funeral. And there's Mimi hiding there, and there's Uncle Ed. That's a rare picture of Ed because he wasn't behind the camera, right? And is that Ed? Eddie, is that you?
Yep, that's me.
Yeah, oh, and here's Ken.
Yep.
There's Ken, and there's Leslie, and Marin, and George, and Ronnie, Leslie's husband, John, Beth, our grandfather, Harold, me, my mom, my dad, Mary and Herm, David, John, Beth, Dan.
Yeah.
Anyway, but wait, let me see. That's not the right picture. Let me find
And
the other
while
one.
we're talking about Nana, I think it's worth just recalling as far as influences. She was an artist, right? She drew those beautiful flowers, or no?
No, that's her mother. Her
Her
mother was Nellie. Nellie Rosewater Elgutter, and she was the artist. And this is the 1936. There's Harold and Nellie, and George, Mary, and Ed.
Whoa.
So 1936. How old was he? He was 12. Am I right? No.
Yeah, 12.
Yeah, he was 12. He was 12. Mom was 14. Mary was 14. George was 16. So I will send this to the cousins.
Nice.
So let me stop.
Ed looks very obedient.
One of his early paintings that hung on the wall in our basement for a long time. I always thought said a lot about Ed's youth. It had a single naked man about to be destroyed, overwhelmed by a tsunami. Can you remember that? And it was so evocative.
Existential.
Yes.
I think I remember seeing that in your basement on Byron.
I could try to find it in screen share. Well,
I think it's man trying to struggle
Yeah, I
against
took a
the
picture of it.
elements.
the other day.
Yeah.
He had some scary pictures. He had that scary clown picture at the circus
I remember that.
and the big haunted house. Very German. It was German expressionism. I never realized it, but yeah, it must have been a big influence on him.
Is there someone who has not had a chance to say something that they would really like to add to the discussion? Someone that needs a little encouragement.
Ellen, you're on mute.
You can't hear her. Hey,
We
think
can't
she-
hear you, Ellen. You have to unmute.
Well, I just want to say, for me, it's wonderful to have his family all around here.
Ellen wanted to say something. but
What,
I-
Ellen wanted to say something?
Yeah, but I don't think her microphone is working.
Oh,
I think she was pointing at other people from her screen.
pointing to, go ahead, Claudia.
Ellen, are you muted on your own computer, maybe? No?
If you type into the chat, I'll read it for you. She's doing fancy fingers.
Sounds
Now
like,
she's unmuted. She must not have a microphone.
Right.
Eddie, Mimi, I just got called away. I will be looking forward to seeing you soon. Be well.
Okay.
thanks, Billy.
Bye,
Bye,
Billy.
Billy. Thank you.
I'm gonna take my leave as well. I'll probably see you tomorrow.
Bye, Oriana. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Hi, Oriana. Thanks so much for
Oriana.
doing a
Thank
wonderful
you.
job.
Betsy, did
Yeah.
you want to speak?
Me too. I'll go because I have to meet a student on Zoom. So thank you.
Thanks for
Good
joining.
night.
Thanks for
Bye.
joining, Monique.
Thank you.
I was going to say how much fun it was to go over to Nana and Papa's house and have the film reel, those green blocks that we ended up using as blocks. I can't remember exactly what they were, but they were some discard from movie film, I guess.
They're the core that the film's wrapped around.
And we used to use them to play with. It was always exciting.
David mentioned that yesterday, Betsy.
Really.
Yeah, so you think alike.
They were like the Legos before they made Legos. You know, would build these big, big buildings with them.
Mimi, I'm going to go now. It's good seeing you, and I'll be speaking with you soon.
Thank you, Shirley. Thank you.
All right, it's nice to see you and your family.
Thanks so much for being here, Shirley.
And
Thanks.
hi to those others that I haven't seen for a long time.
Thanks, Shirley. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Shirley. Hey.
Yeah, I'd like to know what Ed studied at Yale. If he didn't study photography and art, what?
Fine art, painting, I think.
Fine
Oh, he
arts.
did go
Yeah.
into fine art?
Yeah.
Oh, did he?
His
Okay.
degree from Yale was fine arts.
Okay.
And there is a video that shows Ed getting, in 1949, I think,
Mhm.
getting his diploma from Yale. Yeah, because he went in the army in between, and then he came back and finished up.
He
And-
started out in fine art and then
Mhm.
ended up
Yeah.
in fine.
Yep.
Okay.
And then he opened up his office afterwards. Well, he worked a little bit for a company in Cleveland, and then he opened up an office on Prospect Avenue in the city of Cleveland, called Edward Feil Productions. And all of his films for all of the years were in that office. It was on the 5th floor. And I remember once the head of Cyril Bat, which was a huge company, steel company, he really admired Ed because all alone, without a cameraman, without a lighting person, without a sound person, Ed made these fantastic movies. And usually you have a crew, to do that. And Ed did all by himself. And the head of Cyril Bath was very impressed. He was kind of an entrepreneur himself from England. So he went up to Ed's office, which was a horrible mess. And all the films everywhere, yeah, I just remember that. Ed was much admired for what he was able to accomplish all by himself. All the films that he did. Usually you have a sound person, a camera person, and everything. But Ed was all of those things. And it was amazing. I think people were amazed that Ed could do all that by himself. Beth?
Mom, some of the cousins want to know about some of the other movies that Ed would show, like Madeline and Harold and the Purple Crayon. Where did he get those from? Did he own them? Did he rent them? How did he get these fabulous kids' movies that he would show to us?
I think he wrote for them. He wrote away to the producers of the films, and they sent it to him. Yeah, because we had film showing. That's how I got my kids to be with me, really, is Ed would show the films and everybody would come. In fact, we have Mickey Mouse at home, these big 16 millimeter film cans that Ed wanted to show. So we've had lovely family gatherings. Do you remember showing Ed's films? There's we had popcorn and it was all in our home with a big screen. Yeah, we would never buy a house without that big screen so that Ed could show his movies.
This house had one wall in the living room. The long wall was panes of glass with one huge screen. I don't know how you got a screen that big, but that became our movie screen. And sometimes people would sit outside and watch because it was not fully opaque. And they could see, do you remember that? Then there would be people watching the movies outside.
But they were backwards.
Backwards, yes. Yeah.
Backlit.
Regarding Dad's acquisition of films, here's another kind of maybe not so legal activity that he engaged in, which is he had friends who handled films shown on planes. And I guess the policy was you were supposed to dispose of the print after you showed it on the plane. And the same with TV stations and things. And he knew people who would, stick it in their bag, and then Dad would trade films with him. And this is hilarious. I forget which birthday. I was 10 years old or something, and my favorite movie in the world was Young Frankenstein. I'd seen it 13 times in the movie theater, and Dad was like, I'm going to get it for him for his birthday. And so in the process of doing that, he had, his little secret alliances. And a woman called one night and she's like, can I please speak with Ed? And I said, this is his son, Ken. He's not here. Can I take a message? And she must have known it was for my birthday and it was a surprise. So she's like, no, that's okay. I'll call back later. And I had watched the Flintstones enough times that, that meant he was having an affair. And I freaked out. And of course, it was the wife of the woman the guy who had Young Frankenstein and wanted to tell Dad that. And so I forget who, I think you might have enlightened me, Mom, later about it. But, but at the time I was, thinking in sitcom terms that there was some kind of secret imbroglio going on or whatever affair.
Again, I just wanted to point out it's Frankenstein.
Right.
She just passed away also.
What hump?
That's my boyfriend.
Are Ed's films kept? Is there a place where they reside and are protected and being archived?
Kenny and Eddie could.
Yeah,
answer
at
that.
Indiana University, there
Okay.
is an archive, moving images.
Yeah.
And actually Ken connected with Dan Strebel at you say, Kenny, please.
Oh, just that Dan Strebel, who is a scholar in these orphan films, they're called, films made by industrial filmmakers and the little people, not the Hollywood people, that have totally been overlooked. And, he had come upon the inner world of aphasia through these avant-garde filmmakers who were screening it in their film class or something to that effect. And Dan fell in love with the film, and he rallied for it for at least a couple years to be put on the National Film Registry, which it was. So I knew Dan marginally through grad school, but I really had never met him. And then he emailed me saying, hey, you know, can I get a copy of The Inner World of Aphasia on DVD, because I want it to be on the National Film Registry. And it was through Dan, when we were cleaning out Mom and Dad's house, we were like, boy, there's just all these films. And we went to the, you know, art museum in Cleveland. We went to several Cleveland places that just, I think through ignorance, didn't realize what they were turning down. And then Indiana University, we discovered through Dan Strebel, and Rachel Stolce and Andy Ulrich were the point people there. And then Robert Annan, a student of Dan Strebel's, he's the one who discovered the New York World's Fair film, and the realization that it had documented the Charles and Ray Eames exhibit in a way that no one else had, because he snuck his camera in, and he figured out how to film a film in the dark, you know, with pretty good exposure. I mean, that's pretty brilliant. All done with a bag with a hole in it, you know.
Yeah.
Well, these are wonderful memories, and I really appreciate everybody sharing. Is there something else people would like to share now, or would you like to save something for one of the next Shiva minions?
Well, I just wanted to say that probably everybody else related to me in this on this screen had the same experience of my generation, but Uncle Ed used to come to all my birthday parties, not just the ones at Nana and Papa's house, but also the birthday party that my mom and dad would throw for me for my friends. And he would always be the entertainment and show a movie. So my birthday parties were a hit, not because of me, but because we always had a movie, thanks to Uncle Ed.
That's very
So
sweet.
thank you, Uncle Ed.
And for those of you of the next generation, this was before you could just pop a movie into a DVD player and watch it, or before that, a VCR. There were none. Movies were special things.
And most people didn't own them. People didn't own movies to show. Yeah.
The funny thing though about some of the films that Dad had, because he got them through friends at TV stations where parts had been cut, you know, it wasn't until my adulthood that I ever saw the entire version of certain movies, and it was like a surprise. But at any rate,
he had the first reel of Fantasia back in the day, and you could not see it. And I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy. I mean, Disney, you know, had those clutches. He had the first reel of Fantasia. We used to watch it all the time.
Ken, can you tell me what has happened to all the home movies and if we'll ever be able to see those?
well, a ton of them Eddie posted on his YouTube channel. And if you go to Indiana University, the Moving Image Archive, quite a few have been digitized and put up. And they're amazing. Oh my gosh, watch the World War II stuff. It's like amazing. It's just like, and so moving, you know, considering the great generation and all, greatest generation and all. But yeah, that's where you'll find it. I think they, you know, they're very cognizant of our privacy. I mean, your privacy, all the family's privacy. So I don't know what their plans are. I think they would get special permission if they were to ever post like a home movie that's personal, but I'm sure, well, Eddie's in contact with them. Maybe he could answer better how, well, they were just sending us digitized movies, Eddie, right? As they were doing it for a while.
Right. So actually Claudia's putting in right now the link if anybody wants to check it out. So you just go to there, and
Oh, wonderful.
that has about 50 titles. I think they're still doing some stuff, and I think COVID has slowed them down. But Jocelyn and I were there. It was really cool.
And Brent was there.
And Brent was there too. Yeah. We saw Jim Jarmusch.
Kate was there too.
That's right. That's right. Tell the story, Brent.
It was fat. Yeah, Jim Jarmusch, his band Squirrel, which is a two-man operation, and they've played here in Cleveland a bunch, accompanying a bunch of like old, like 1920s silent films. Like that's one of Jim's gigs.
Man, right?
These freaking awesome soundscapes. And so he was lit up by Ed's films, specifically Patterns and a couple others so they screened those on this. I mean, you want to talk about a giant screen? Hello, this thing was crazy. And then the band is like accompanying him. It was awesome.
But anyway, yeah. So use that link, and as things come up, I'll definitely send emails around to everybody.
Wonderful.
And I think if you want to go there and visit, they'll actually even put you up in the big dolly and take you, up to the refrigerated room that they have all the films.
Well, I'm going to say goodnight to everyone. I apologize for the fact that I'm so poor at handling Zoom and computers. So I apologize for that. It's just not my skill. But I have really enjoyed hearing about your family and Ed and so forth. And so I wish you well, and your next Shiva Minions will be also wonderful. So thanks for sharing with me, and I'll sign off. So good night to everybody.
Thank you. Thank
so
you.
much.
Bye-bye.
Much.
Bye-bye.
So I know that it's late on the East Coast, and so, but if I don't want to shut folks down, we have 2 more of these, so I want to keep some juice for the other
Okay,
2.
we're out of here. Bye.
Yeah. On that note, does anybody want to say anything?
Yeah, we're out of here.
I just wanted to say that it's nice to see Jordan and Ethan and Claudia. Who else am I missing? I don't think I've seen you since you were very tiny children, and you're not tiny children. You're all grown up now. So it's really lovely to see you and to meet you in a different way, even though it's a sad occasion. But only let's hope for happy occasions.
They're coming.
We're sending love and strength and condolences from Colorado, and we're signing off, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Bye, guys.
Good night.
Thank you.
We are going to sign off as well, and we will hopefully see you tomorrow as well.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.
I got all night. I mean, I'm not doing anything special. I can hang out.
You're never doing anything special. No.
Hey, was I talking to you? Was I talking to you?
Okay, this is where you mute them both.
Yes, you were.
Mute them both.
Only the rowdy ones are left.
For a lot of you that I don't know here, are you friends of Ed's?
Yes.
Only the obnoxious ones.
Well, and we,
No,
and we
some of us are family. Some of us are not.
No, I mean,
and we live in our
Family, not friends.
I think it's nice on Zooms like this to have everybody introduce themselves, but we're kind of done with that, I guess.
I am also going to pop out as it's after 9 over in New Jersey, but I will see you all tomorrow. Lots of love.
Will people be here on Wednesday morning? when the Wednesday noon one? Yes.
Yes.
If I weren't getting a root canal, I would be. So.
Oh,
Have-
Jordan, it's nice. I'm in
I have
Philadelphia.
priorities. Sorry.
Jordan, where are you in New Jersey?
I'm in the New Brunswick area.
Okay, I'm in Philly, so
Oh, not
maybe
far.
maybe
Nice.
bump into each other sometime on
Stay warm.
95.
No, really.
Yeah, stay warm. Good luck tomorrow with the root canal. That does not sound, or Wednesday, it sounds awful.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, Jordy.
Bye, sweetie.
Hi.
Oh, good. She's gone. I can talk about her. No, I'll be good. She's in
Mimi, I think you look fabulous.
Oh, thank you. It's gonna look around. Who's that?
Betsy.
Oh, not you, not me. I mean, you look fabulous too. Where are you?
Right here.
Oh, there you are. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, well, now I see you
When
really
it's
well.
when it's green, they're talking.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, well, you don't see all the wrinkles on the movies. There. Yeah.
File pile. Dinner tomorrow. I will bring it over before 5. Is there a preferred time?
Before 5.
I'm glad we're on the same. Yes, yeah. Brent.
Yes, sir.
Oh, there you are. Okay. I'm including you in on this food thing. Okay.
Well done. I was about to call you on the side.
Our house is on the way over, or on the way home, so just drop us off some too.
It's you know what it's a lot of pork. I don't think you do pork. So what can I say?
Well, that's an exception for you, Jerry.
It depends on the cut.
Where have I heard that? Oh, wait.
See, Ed Senior would say cut a lot, wouldn't it? Wouldn't he?
Well, and Betsy, we're friends in Eugene of the files. So
Wonderful.
yes. So
I hope everybody's being COVID safe.
Way.
Super Bowl, exceptions.
I can't seem to get this guy to back off, but otherwise, yes.
Wait.
Betsy, this is Eugene. They kick you out if you're not COVID safe. I mean, it's right.
It's not enough.
Pull it all the way up, Jared.
All right.
There we go. Someone who's talking my language.
Oh, thank you.
Nice. At the Shiva. Nice.
Harry.
I'm sorry, are you wearing a yarmulke, Brent?
Yeah, actually I was.
Oh.
The one I got married in, if you recall. Thank you.
See, now there's an Ed Senior moment right there. No pun intended.
Very good, Doc.
This is what we do.
So, Mimi?
And I have had people look at it and say, I don't read Hebrew.
Oh.
Oy vey. Oy vey is right.
We
Oy
live out,
vavoy.
yeah,
Well, it's Yiddish. It's not Hebrew, right? That's Yiddish.
But it's
yeah.
It's in English letters. Yay.
I have to explain that to them, but it looks like Hebrew, so it must be one of those weird Jewish things.
There's no shortage of those.
Yes.
I was gonna say that's like the first half of my marriage.
Now, when you'll see after halftime, girl.
One of those weird. Yeah.
That's going to be bad. Third and fourth quarter. Oh yeah.
Oh.
It was pretty bad. No.
Nothing. So yes, Mimi, at Kate and Brent's wedding, 10-year anniversary, Ed Senior brought his 16 millimeter movie of Howard, help me out. Harold and Maude. I've never.
Oh, Harold and Maude, that's right.
Do you still have that?
Yes.
We do.
I'm
Yeah.
not talking to you, Ed.
We could.
That would be fun.
Tomorrow night.
Ed Senior on a regular basis, we would come home late, and we would wake him up, and he would show movies at, like, you know, starting time was 2 a.m. And the regular showing would be the preview cartoon was reel one of Fantasia, and then we had a double feature every time. And it was a question of which was going to be first and which was going to be second. That was the big reveal. It was the producers and Harold and Maude. And so, yeah, when we got married, Ed Senior came out, and Mimi, you were there, and you guys showed Harold and Maude. It was great.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And it actually, many things came of that, actually. A lot of important things came from even just such a small thing as showing a movie, right? But really not a small thing.
So Ellen has a really important question. Mimi and Eddie, did Ed still keep his Madeline? And Ellen wants to see it immediately.
So there were a lot of films. We kept a few, but I think some went to to another guy like Dad, who liked collecting films through the network. So we have a couple of big boxes, but I don't think I don't know exactly because I haven't gone through it, but I don't think Madeline.
Ellen, you have no idea how many hundreds, if not thousands, of these giant rolls of film were in there, stacked and stacked and stacked. And Eddie and Ken went through them for a week, right? It took forever, maybe longer than a week.
Yeah, it was more than a week.
Yeah. I think we made we would go there for weekends, 3 or 4 days at a time for 4 and 5 times. And we'd be down in the basement and just go goofy. It might have been all the dust too, but you know.
And the chemicals.
We're out of here. We'll be back. Love you, Mimi.
There were nitrate movies.
Love you. Love you, Mimi. See you tomorrow.
Thanks for coming. Yeah.
Mom, I'm gonna go to bed too because I gotta get up
Right.
and do that work stuff.
Always good to see you.
Beth, it's so nice to see you.
Thank you.
Good to see you, Beth.
Good to see you too, Amy.
It's so amazing that you live where Ellen lives.
I know. It was so weird to find that out. It was like, oh my God.
How far are you from each other? How far is the drive?
15 minutes.
Wow.
And you're not far
We
from
live in the same
Leslie.
suburb. You understand? We're not just in the same city. We live in the same suburb. We're in the
Amazing.
containment area for relocated Yankees.
So Ellen used to live on the Cape.
So we have to have a family reunion down there. Post plague.
We got room. We got room.
Okay, Beth.
Well, do you now?
Okay. I want to thank you all for being here. It means a lot to me. Wonderful. Yeah, it lessens the pain that I have when not having Ed here. You know, I know that I'll never be alone with memories of Ed. I guess it'll hit.
Mimi, you mean a lot to me.
Oh, thank you, Betsy. Thank you, Betsy. That's sweet of you to say that. Yeah.
I mean it.
Yeah, I remember the birthday parties. Yeah. In fact, we still have them.
I remember when you and Ed got married.
You do? Wow.
So do I. So does Ellen.
Wow.
Amy, you might have been too young, no?
I do remember you had some parties and kind of in your, did you have a family room in the basement of your house?
We had a family room.
Or what was in the basement? Did you ever have birthday parties in the basement?
In Cleveland, I think.
In Cleveland?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right, we did.
I remember going to a Purim party.
Yes. And the kids had their birthday parties there. In that basement.
As Dad used to say, rich man Purim.
That's bad.
All the poor kids came, the rich ones stayed at home.
We should stop that.
Well, should we wrap it up for tonight? Thank you all so much for coming, and
No, thank you for having us.
Gary for
Great to see you.
master's ceremony and learning Zoom, and you're going to get more practice too.
Thank you, Gary, for doing that.
Nice
Thank
everybody. My pleasure. Thanks, Cheryl, too, because she oriented to
Mimi and Ed and Ken, may you be comforted among the mourners of our people, and may Ed's memory be for a blessing.
Thank you, Catherine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know if I can make it tomorrow night, but I'll see you on Wednesday at noon.
Thanks, Catherine.
Great.
What are the
Love.
Night.
You have
Pardon?
interesting pictures behind you.
Oh, Jonah painted his self-portrait in the style of Velázquez with earbuds when he was 16, and then he did a portrait of Rebecca that she doesn't like, but we like it.
Nice.
He's got the Ed and Amy gene, the painter's gene.
That's right.
Which
And Dan Van Landingham and
oh right, and Dan and Jessica Hellerstein, and I paint some too, and David Hellerstein has painted. It's I think it all comes from Nellie Rosewater Elgutter. She was it was a strong matrilineal painting gene, I think. That hit Ed. Anyway. So.
Bye, everybody. Love you all. So
Bye. Love to you.
Bye.
See you either tomorrow and Wednesday. Bye.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you all. It's good to see you.